Found this masterclass, that the fact that you found this masterclass was not an accident. So many people right now are actually doing everything right. They're working hard, they're taking care of everyone else, taking care of family, checking the boxes, getting educated. However, we're still feeling really disconnected, really disconnected from the life that we truly want to fulfill and what we desire. And if I'm being honest, that used to be me as well. 20 years ago, well, maybe 25 years ago, guys, I found myself in a predicament where I went to look for my mother who left me and my brothers when I was 8 years old. And I got to tell you, when I reunited with her, I thought my life had just been such a blessing. And I found her. I was in Australia at the time, and I went looking for her, and I found her here in America. Lo and behold, I was 22 years old, and I went to America. I packed everything up. I packed everything up, told my entire family, hey, I'm gonna go and go be with my mother. And this was such a pivotal moment, and this is why I'm teaching this class. It was such a pivotal moment because I had envisioned a different outcome. That outcome that I envisioned didn't pan out the way that I expected. And it actually ended up being a blessing. So after 4 months of reconnecting with my mother, she decided to kick me out. She had told me, listen, you're not the daughter that I would like or that you turned out to be. And she had kicked me out of her house in America with no support, no resources, no family members, nothing. And I found myself homeless in San Jose, California, really trying to figure out how to make it. And I had two choices. I had a choice that I could go back to Australia with my tail tucked. And really, everyone had told me, be careful. You're making a big move. You might be making a mistake. Or I would make the decision to make something of myself and make things happen for myself. And I promise you, that moment was probably one of the hardest moments, the hardest choices I had ever made. And that was I was going to make it no matter what. And in doing so, I started to research, okay, what is this rags to riches story? How do people get out of predicaments? And so I started to learn about manifestation. I started to learn about, things like the law of attraction, the law of detachment, you name it. I started to learn it. And one by one, step by step, my life improved. I went from being homeless to now owning three houses. I have an amazing, amazing corporate career that I've been at for over 18 years. I'm what they call a subject matter expert, making multiple six figures. Um, I never thought that I could aspire to half of what I am today, but I promise you, when you apply these manifestation codes, which I've learned along the way, and I've really honed in on it, and I've gotten coaches, many coaches that cost me $10,000, $15,000. As you know, there's a lot of coaches there that charge a lot of money for this stuff. I started to learn it, and as my life got better and better, and the woman that I wanted to become became me at that moment, I decided I want to share this with the world. This is not something we need to gatekeep. This is not something that, we should not have access to. We should all have access to this because we actually have the ability and the power to manifest the life that we want. So, from the outside, I got to say, at one point in corporate America, grinding, everything looked like, hey, I was really successful. But honestly, I was also very overwhelmed. I was burnt out. And I wanted to change my life, not just with positive thinking, which is what people think manifestation is about, but it was really understanding the combination of what is my identity? What is the subconscious programming that I need to look at? What's my nervous system? What capacity can I hold in this life? Where's my energy leaking and where am I absorbing good energy? And the actions from that, really started to form for me. And everything began changing when I actually stopped trying to force things. Because if you notice, a lot of us, we try to force an outcome. We're pushing and we're pushing and we're pushing. We feel burnt out. Things aren't working the way we want, or sometimes it works kind of the way we wanted, but not quite the way we wanted. And so I started to learn, okay, there has to be an easy way where we can actually align to the life that we want, to the things that we want. And so that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today. Because manifestation is not about wishing or hoping, and it's not magic. It's actually science, guys. And it's not reserved for just lucky people, although I do like to say that I'm very lucky, and that's actually part of the manifestation practice as well. But there's actual principles behind why some people actually can attract abundance really easily. They attract love, opportunities, success, good health, while others actually stay stuck in a cycle of struggle and self-sabotage. So today, I'm going to walk you through the foundational shifts that actually completely changed my life. And this is, I think, maybe a year into this particular manifestation code where we have seen in our community of women specifically, where their lives have started to change. And we can share some of those testimonials at another point. But regardless, at the end of this masterclass, I want you to know that you're going to understand why you felt stuck, what is subconsciously blocking you, and how you can finally become magnetic for the life that you truly desire. So, guys, take a deep breath. Let's settle into the moment. Open your eyes. And if you can put your phone away, get into a quiet place and just spend this next 40 minutes with me, 50 minutes with me. I promise you, you will take something from this and be able to start to shift your life starting today. So, I am your coach, Sherry Love. And I want to say I've been coaching women for over 10 years now. A little bit about me. Being in corporate America, I have broken a lot of glass ceilings. So I'm sure all of you know, being in corporate America, especially in the field that I'm in, I am in a man's world. And it is a very tough place to navigate as a woman and as a young woman as well. And so, one of the things I started to do 10 years ago was mentor younger women into corporate America and found a lot of success. Mind you, I was using my manifestation codes to help them manifest the career that they wanted. And what I started to see with a lot of the women I coached there is that they then started to say, okay, well, now that I have the career and the money coming in, how do I hold the capacity to be able to grow this wealth, right? Because it's one thing to earn money, it's another to keep spending it and not seeing true wealth around you. So then I started to also coach about, finances and how to hold capacity for money and how money can grow for you because money is energy. And then from there, these women who had it all figured out, or at least it looked like that, they used to come to me and go, hey, Sherry, my love life is also in a bit of a shambles. So my career is good, my money is good. Why can I not find the love of my life? And so I started to implement the manifestation codes with people and their love lives. And I promise you, they all are synonymous with each other, whether it's your career, your health, your wealth, your love, your relationships, it's all the same thing. And so the manifestation codes is something I developed and it's worked over and over and over again. We have so many women who have changed their lives. And it's really just me providing the tools, right? I'm not here to transform you, you transform yourself. And the one thing I've also noticed is that there's a lot of manifestation classes out there. And guys, I promise, I've taken most of them. I have paid a ton of money to take a lot of these manifestation classes. And the one thing that I noticed, and I made sure for myself and my cohort of students, is that I am not selling you information. I'm not giving you information because you can find information everywhere. The key here is to be able to give you the tools for you to have absolute transformation in your life because information is free. You can chat GPT it, you can Google it. There is information everywhere, but no one is showing you how to actually implement that, integrate it into your life, and transform parts of your life that you feel that need that attention. And so this is what I'm here for. This is my passion is to help you transform your life to become the life that you've truly desired. And so with that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, what is manifestation? And before we go deeper into this work, I first want to talk about what manifestation actually is, okay? Because manifestation has become one of the most misunderstood concepts online. A lot of people think manifestation is wishing for something, saying affirmations all day. Well, yes, that is, part of it. Okay. That's all part of it. Making vision boards. Great. Yes, we've all done that as well. That's part of it. Give me one second, guys. Let me just turn this off. Um, Thinking positive or, creating mantras for yourself. That is all, yes, foundational stuff for manifestation. But manifestation is actually so much deeper than that. It's actually science. It is not magic. It is not, woo woo, which it can be sometimes because it sounds that way. But there is actual science behind manifestation. And so, manifestation is the process of bringing your internal state, your internal world, into physical reality. Okay. It is the relationship between your thoughts, your beliefs, your identity, your nervous system, your energy, and your actions. Everything in your external life is actually a reflection of what is happening inside you. And this is backed by the science of the law of mentalism, as within, so without. Okay. Everything that is happening internally to you is a direct reflection of what your 3D world looks like. Okay. It's all about the relationships you attract. If you have a lot of self-love and if you have a lot of self-confidence, you're actually going to start magnetizing the right energy or the right kind of people towards you. Okay. You start to notice opportunities when you're open to opportunities. But if you feel, oh, I'm closed off, this doesn't work for me, or it's too hard, or this particular field is oversaturated, you're going to start to see in your 3D world opportunities closing. Okay. Money, which is a big one for all of us, right? Do you actually allow yourself to receive money? Because it's one thing to be doing and making money. Okay. But can you actually allow yourself to receive it? Okay. Also, the standards and the boundaries that you create for yourself. What standards are you accepting? How are you allowing people to treat you? And how you allow people to treat you is how you actually treat yourself. Are you kind to yourself? Do you speak good of yourself? Thinking about your internal dialogue. And if you notice, if you're not kind and good to yourself, a lot of people won't be kind or good to you. All of this is connected to your internal state. And this is why two people who can have the same access to opportunities and possibilities have actually complete different lives. They actually create different lives. And this is because manifestation is not just about circumstances. It is about self-concept. It is your identity. It is about what you believe you are worthy of. It is also what feels safe in your nervous system. Okay. What your subconscious mind has been programmed to expect. And this subconscious mind is a tricky one because a lot of the times, we basically create, circumstances on the programming of our parents, right? And I'm going to give you examples of that, these limiting beliefs that don't even belong to you. Okay. And most people are manifesting unconsciously every single day. So, for example, I, in particular, have learned to reprogram my brain. I don't look at change as something scary. I don't have fear over change. I actually embrace change. I look at change as, oh, wow, okay, this is becoming difficult. I'm going to lean into it because I know on the other side of that is something greater than I can predict for myself. And what's so interesting is even last night, I gotta tell you, I had an interesting conversation with my father, who is, in his uh retirement years, let's just call it that. And he's planning to move to Thailand, right? Because that's what you do. You build a nest egg and you go to a country where your nest egg automatically quadruples or, triples, whatever it might be. And he said to me yesterday, he said, Sherry, I'm really scared of this big move. I'm old. So these are limiting beliefs. I'm old. And mind you, he's turning 70. I'm old. I'm going to a country where I don't know anyone. Um, I do have my superannuation, which is kind of like a 401k in Australia, but I'm scared and I don't like change. Change scares me. I like things to stay the same. And it's so interesting because as his daughter who teaches manifestation, I said, this might be the best time of your life. This might be the next chapter where you actually feel more fulfilled because things are not going to be the same. You and my dad, who's single, may find the love of his life. He might find, a beach house out there that he's going to love. And then he's not, I'm looking forward to the day he calls me and says, that was the best decision I ever made. I don't know why I was so scared to do it. And so these are the things that keep coming up for people, right? We have limiting beliefs, we have scarcity, right? There's not enough money to go around, or money doesn't grow on trees. I don't know if you guys have heard that from your parents, but I sure have heard it plenty of times. Then there's emotional woundings and old identities that we also have to, kind of fight through. Okay. And then you wonder why you end up creating the same experiences over and over again, these cycles where you think you're manifesting, but you have all of these blockages and you just can't break through. However, once you actually become conscious of your patterns, you can start to intentionally create a different reality for yourself. And this is where manifestation becomes really powerful. Manifestation is not about controlling the universe. It is about becoming aligned with the version of you who actually attracts the life that you desire. And one of the biggest things I want you to understand today is this: manifestation is not magic. There is actual physiological, emotional, energetic, and neurological principles behind why this works. Your thoughts influence your emotions influence your nervous system, and your nervous system influences your actions. And then your actions influences your results. And over time, when you start repeating these patterns, it becomes your reality. So, manifestation is not just think it and it will appear. Manifestation is, and I will go into the codes, clarity. It is about getting clear on what it is that you want. It's about removing limiting beliefs, okay, which is a huge, huge, huge one. It's about embodying and aligning with this new identity of the person that you need to become in order to have the life that you want. It is also taking inspired action because it's not enough just to sit there and do affirmations. You actually have to do some things to walk towards the manifestation, to walk towards the goal that you want. And then the big one, which is my big, big, big one I want to point out, is the law of detachment. It's a little counterintuitive to manifestation because you feel like you're doing a lot to change your internal world. But the law of detachment, and I'll give you an example later, is the key. So stick with me. Stick with me here. And if anyone has heard about any of these, please give a thumbs up in the chat. Actually, let me know where you're calling in from, or logging in from. But I want to start to really, really get you guys to understand these manifestation codes. And if you take anything from here today, you also get the replay and we'll send you the presentation. If you can really hone in on these 5 pillars, I promise you, you will start to shift your life. Okay. So let's go ahead. Now that we've talked about what manifestation is, I'm going to walk you through these 5 pillars that completely changed my life. Okay. Because manifestation is not random. These are actual principles why some people continue to attract opportunities, abundance, love, success, while others stay stuck. Okay. And when you understand these 5 pillars, I promise you it'll be stuck in your head because as you go through life, you're going to go, wow, I haven't really been clear on what my goal is. I didn't understand. I had all these limiting beliefs. I didn't understand what inspired action is, but now I do. And then the law of detachment, which a lot of people don't do. If you start to learn the art of surrender, things will start to happen for you so quickly. I promise. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first pillar is clarity. Okay, this is where, but believe it or not, it seems easy, but it's not. When you think about what it is you really want, okay, are you really getting clear on what you want or what you don't want? Okay. When people create their intention of what it is that they want to achieve or the manifestation that they want to have in their life, they start to say things like, I don't want to struggle anymore. I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to be in toxic relationships. I don't want to feel stress. So, what's really interesting is your mind and energy cannot create from confusion. Okay. Your mind gives the same energy to the things you don't want as well as the things that you do want. Okay. And your subconscious mind doesn't understand what is a lie and what is truth. The subconscious knows whatever you speak into it is what it is in existence. Okay. So the question it becomes like, what are you actually emotionally rehearsing every day? Are you walking around going, oh man, I just don't want to be in debt anymore? Okay. That's not telling the universe or the God what it is that you actually want. Okay. Getting clear on what you want is saying something like this. I'm going to be debt free in 6 months. I'm going to earn $100,000 this year in 2026. Or I am going to earn, and let me tell you, let me get really, really clear. I'm going to earn $100,000 after tax in my account before the end of 2026. I know it sounds a little strange, but let me tell you a story. Uh, and this is not to brag. Okay. This is not to brag. This is just to show you how this works. I got very, very clear on what it is that I really wanted in life. Okay. I know what I needed in order to have that life. And it required a promotion. It required more money. It required investments into properties. It required a lot of things. Okay. And so getting really clear on my intention of what I needed to do to accomplish those goals, I got very specific. And this is where journaling helps and you write it down. It is not enough to say, I want to make $1 million. Okay. It's not enough. You want to get very, very granular. Okay. And let me tell you something. This is where my wires got crossed, where I wasn't clear. I had on my vision board a picture of a Gulf Stream, a blue and white one. Okay. And I said in there, I'm going to fly in this before the age of 40. That's what I said. I'm going to fly in this and pointed to the plane by the age of 40. In my head, I wanted to own it. I wanted to own it, but that's not what I wasn't clear enough. Okay. And so let me tell you an interesting story. I do business development. I close deals for my company. I work on a lot of partnerships. And I wasn't clear on that plane. But let me tell you, on my 39th birthday, I get a phone call where I was told, hey, Sherry, we need you to head over to XYZ city to go close this deal. And we need you to go to the company hangar right now and get on the private plane to close this deal. Let me tell you, the plane was blue and white. It wasn't exactly the same, but close enough. It was the company's private jet. And I just remember looking at this plane as I was boarding it, going, wow, this was on my vision board and I'm going to fly in this plane, but I don't own it. I was not clear. I I basically told the universe what I wanted, which it delivered it to me. I flew on a private jet, the blue and white one, but I didn't own it. So getting clear is so, so important, and we're not clear enough, right? Things like, I want to have good health. What is good health? What is that? Is it that you're breathing and you're alive, or is it that you're an optimal weight, that your blood work looks a certain way, that you're feeling a certain way? Like, what is it? People don't get granular enough, and you have to be very granular in what it is that you really want. And that clarity is so, so important. Okay. Being really clear means the signal that you're giving. It's almost like when you pray to God and you say to God, please God, let me get a career where I, really love my boss and, I'm working in tech, but you have an idea of what this boss should look like and act like towards you. What part of tech is it here? Is it in Japan? Is it in Europe? Like, where is it? Where is this job? Who are you reporting to? What are you doing on a daily basis? You've got to get super, super clear. And once you get clear, it becomes one of the biggest shifts to getting really honest with what it is you truly desire. And also, you start to signal to the universe, God, whoever your higher power is, that this is what I want in the exact way that I want. Kind of like how you order your Starbucks. You have a certain way you like Starbucks. You're very particular. You want oat milk, not almond milk. You want 2 pumps of this instead of 3 pumps of that. Get really, really clear on your goals. I promise you, if you really sit down and write it down and go granular, go deeper and deeper and deeper into that one goal, you'll notice how much clearer and clearer you get on what that goal should actually really look like. Okay. And so this is really important. So I want you to start thinking when you're writing your goal, who is it that you want to become? What does she look like? What does he look like? How does he feel? How does she feel when she wakes up in the morning and gets ready for the world? Are you working for yourself? Are you working for a company? Are you not working at all? What kind of peace are you looking for in your life? And how are you going to obtain that? And who's the person that you want to become? What does that person do? And we'll get a little bit clear on like the embodiment practice of this new identity. So when you think about clarity, clarity not only creates direction, but it actually activates the manifestation. Okay. And the clearer you are, the clearer the outcome will be for you. You're not giving mixed signals, which ends up in mixed results. You're actually going to get what you want. Okay, guys. The next one, removing limiting beliefs. This is huge, huge, huge. And I'm going to give you some examples, and I'm sure you can relate. If you're in my age group, you could probably relate. I'm going to give you some limiting beliefs, and I want you to think about growing up, what that sounded like. What did your parents say? Okay. And I'm going to give you an example. One big one, my dad would always say, darling, money doesn't grow on trees. There's not enough money out here. You've got to save every penny, save for a rainy day, as if rainy days are coming, right? Like you're almost manifesting a rainy day coming. Um, I've heard things like, oh, some people are just lucky and some people are not. I've heard things like, you know, uh, just find a rich man and you'll be fine. Okay, I've heard that. I've heard um, women can't do those things, or these things don't happen to people like us. I've even heard things not necessarily from my family, but just from surrounding relatives, like, oh, people with lots of money are greedy, or money is the root of all evil. Oh, you shouldn't take that class. That's going to be too hard for you. Or, girls aren't supposed to play that sport. There's so many limiting beliefs that we grow up with. Okay. And some of the women that are in my cohorts, I'll tell you, we all have very similar upbringing, similar limiting beliefs, even around health, right? Like creating almost like this guilt or shame behind food. Like this is a limiting belief. So, for example, have you heard this? Have you heard this? Like finish everything in your plate because there's people in Africa that are starving, right? And then we're forced to eat all of our food, even though we're full to the point where we can't breathe anymore. And then you wonder why we have eating problems later or weight issues later on. Because subconsciously we've been told we've got to eat everything on our plate, right? And that's actually a limiting belief that prevents us from having good health. Because the opposite of that is saying, you know what? I'm not going to finish all of this, but I will put it aside for later. Such a simple, simple move. However, when you have ingrained in you this programming of all these limiting beliefs that never belonged to you in the first place, how do you shift from that unless somebody actually shows you how to shift away from it? So, this pillar of removing limiting beliefs actually changes everything for you. It is the reason why a lot of people create blockages or restrictions to their manifestation. Because most people are not blocked by their desires. They're actually blocked by their subconscious beliefs. Okay. So your subconscious mind might say, for example, I want abundance. Okay. But subconsciously, you have the limiting belief of money is hard. Okay. Or there's not enough money, or you have to overwork it. You have to work really hard and work 60 hours a week to make money. These are all, ways that your subconscious mind actually overrides your true desire. Okay. And this is why you can vision board, do your affirmations, pray, meditate, and still get stuck in the same cycles because manifestation is deeply connected to the identity. And your nervous system will only allow you to feel safe and familiar if you have done the inner work to reprogram these limiting beliefs. And believe it or not, as grown adults, we can do anything. We can reprogram our brain and reframe the way we think things by a simple decision and a simple choice. And it's one of the most powerful things, right? You want to ask yourself, what belief am I carrying that is keeping me attached to my current reality? And let me say it again. What belief am I carrying that is keeping me attached to this current reality? Because once you identify that subconscious story, you can actually start to rewire it. And I'll give you an example. I have heard a lot of women, I do love coaching. If you haven't checked it out on Debt Network, that's DETT, there's a show called Fix Us, and I'm, Sherry, the love coach with these couples and women that have just gotten out of relationships. The one thing I hear a lot of women say is there are no good men out there, or men are crap, or men are liars, or whatever the case might be. And I tell you, it is completely false. And the minute you start rewiring your brain to go, you know what, there are good men out there, but I just need to work on myself in such a way that I start to attract the right man. I promise you that shifts everything. And because of that, last year I went to two weddings, and one of my other ladies that I coach, she is engaged and is in her second trimester of pregnancy. I promise you this works if you really start to apply it. So now let's go into the embodiment of this new identity, okay? Manifestation is not just thinking differently, right? It's also not rewiring your brain. There's a whole thing behind embodying this identity. So once you've learned to rewire your brain, what you want to do is start visualizing yourself as the version of you 5 years from now. What does she look like? How does she talk? How does he walk? How does he act? What energies is around him? What is he allowing? What is she not allowing? Okay. And I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I was a front desk receptionist. Okay. I knew that I was stuck being a front desk receptionist when the owner of the law firm said to me, Sherry, we can't give you promotion because you are the face of this company and we love your voice. And you are the first thing people see and talk to when they walk into the office. So my attractiveness and my accent prevented me from getting a promotion because they wanted me to be in this position where I was the face and the voice of the company when you first walked in. I thought to myself, this has to be the worst possible outcome for myself. Because it doesn't matter how much I learned or what I was capable of. They had a mindset of what they wanted for me. And I said, okay, something has to change. And so what I did was I started to embody a version of Sherry that would sit in boardrooms with men surrounded. Okay. I would imagine me being in on like 6, 7 floors up, all glass windows, boardroom. I'm at the head, and there's men in suits. And so I started, and I said to myself, okay, what do I need to do to embody this woman? I started to dress for the job I wanted. Such a very simple shift. So instead of dressing like a front desk receptionist, which was business casual, I started dressing to the nines as a woman who was stepping into a boardroom. And I promise you, within 6 months, I was working for a massive German company, sitting in a boardroom on the 10th floor with a bunch of suited German men. And I couldn't believe where I had landed myself in that position. And it was a simple shift as starting to actually dress for the job I wanted and not for the job I had. And so this is an embodiment practice of embodying this new identity. It is crucial to manifestation, to creating a different internal state so that your external world starts to reflect who you are on the inside. Because I want you to remember one thing. The universe doesn't give you what you want. The universe will give you who you are and who you embody. When that really sinks in and you start looking around and how you are stuck in your cycle of life, start to shift slowly. Is that version of you waking up at 5 a.m. instead of 7 a.m.? Is that version of you making the bed? So simple. Is that version of you, does he or she have a beautiful house that has everything in order? Does that version of you dress a certain way? Does she eat a certain way? Does he think a certain way? Is he out there drinking, every weekend? Or is he working out? Is he learning a new course? What is it? What is that new version of you doing? If you saw him or her in front of you today, what does he or she look like? What are they doing? Who are they? Who are their friends? You have to start embodying that version of you now. Even if you don't feel like you have it, there are certain things you can do right now to embody that identity of the person that you want to become. Okay. So the next one, which is also important, is inspired action. Okay. And I want you to think about inspired action because a lot of people go, oh, manifestation, you should be able to sit there and meditate and everything will just come to you. No, it doesn't. You actually have to do micro steps, micro decisions towards what it is that you are trying to achieve. And this is the missing piece because everyone's like, oh, manifestation is magic. I'm just going to sit back and it's all going to come to me. But yes, there is some element of truth to that. But we all know that is not common sense, right? We all know that there has to be something that we do to move forward towards that goal, even if it's a micro decision or a micro step. Okay. So this is where manifestation and reality meet. Okay. Manifestation is not sitting on the couch waiting for the universe to rescue you. Okay. The universe responds to movement. Okay. The universe, if you think about the universe in its most simplest form, it is energy. Everything is energy, okay? Energy is movement. Energy is frequency. It's vibration. So if the universe responds to movement, you taking inspired action is what's going to be the game changer here, okay? But I want to say something. There is a difference between forced action and inspired action, okay? Forced action comes from fear, scarcity, proving, desperation, and burnout. Inspired action comes from a place of neutrality, intuition, expansiveness, okay? And often the next aligned step is not necessarily a logical one, okay? Sometimes it requires trust. So the inspired action might be, hey, I want to meet the love of my life. So you start to do the internal work of essentially creating an internal reality where you are lovable, where you are confident, where you know you are magnetic and attractive. The inspired action is, I'm going to go put myself out there. I'm going to go to a beautiful lounge or a beautiful bar, and I'm going to be open to every possibility. That's the inspired action. You've done the inner work. Now go do the inspired action. Same thing for a career. You want to have a certain career that needs a certain skill set. First of all, change your internal state to believe that you actually belong there, that you actually are deserving of it, and then go take that course or go get a mentor or go apply for that job. Whatever it might be, the inspired action that creates the link between the manifestation and reality itself. Same thing for health. It's one thing to sit here and go, I just want to feel good. I want to feel healthy. Okay. What is it inside you that's blocking you from being there? Are you creating a defense mechanism? I always said this, to people that overeat because I used to be like that a long time ago. Every time I overate, I was creating an invisible armor so no one could hurt me. Okay, and that hurt came from my mother's, the trauma that I went through with my mom. And so the overeating was, hey, I'm going to create this armor so no one can hurt me. And when I finally regulated my nervous system and said, I am safe. No one can hurt me. I am good. Then the inspired action of going to the gym, eating organic food, picking organic food over other foods, right? Not overeating, all of the things, the inspired action started to create a reality around me where, I lost the weight and I look great. I feel great. I'm healthy. If you look at my blood work, I'm going to take another one. I do it every 6 months. It is phenomenal, phenomenal. But I had to do the inner work of regulating my nervous system and creating safety within myself to finally say, I don't need that armor, that invisible armor anymore. And then the inspired action is go work out, start walking, live a healthier lifestyle, Watch what you're putting into your body. Don't overeat. Put your food in the fridge and eat it for later. You don't have to finish it all because, yes, there's kids starving everywhere, but that's not a reason to feel guilty for not eating your entire plate. Okay. So that inspired action is what starts to form the reality around you. Okay. And sometimes, believe it or not, you don't know the how. I don't know how this is going to happen, but I'm going to do the little micro steps to get towards it. And I promise you, if you start to do that, things will start to shift for you. Okay. And you don't have to feel a certain way, or you don't have to like feel like, oh, I need to be ready. You're never going to be ready. Just do it. Just do it. Confidence, that the confidence that you have, build that. That's free. You don't, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't have to be right. Just do it. The universe can guide you as you start moving towards the goal that you want. Okay. It cannot guide you if you're in fear, in scarcity. Okay. So ask yourself, what is one aligned action that I can take today that moves me closer to the life I desire? Just one, not 50, just one. What is one aligned action that you can take? Okay. And then do that thing. Try it and see what happens. So the next pillar, law of detachment. Guys, we just taught this in our class on Wednesday. Was I think it was last Wednesday actually. The art of detachment or the law of detachment. This is actually one that most people really struggle with because for the most part, we are all control freaks, right? We love to control everything. We love to control the outcome. And believe you me, when you let God take the wheel or the universe or whoever your higher power is, it actually works out better for you in the end. So the law of detachment, this is where you actually stop obsessing, you stop forcing, you stop chasing, you stop living in desperation. You actually kind of stop caring in a lot of ways, okay? The law of detachment is where you do the right things. You've worked on getting clear on what you want. You are breaking through limiting beliefs and rewiring your brain, reprogramming your brain. You're starting to embody the person who you want to become, okay? And then you what do you call it? You start to take the inspired action, you start to do the things that is going to lead you to that goal. Then all of a sudden you get to a law of detachment where you surrender. You don't worry about the how or the why, you surrender to it. Because what's really interesting about the law of detachment is this. The harder you grip, or the more you want to control, or the more that you want to do or force, it's actually repelling the thing that you really want. And the more that you start to just be in reception, right, of the things where you energetically go, I trust, I surrender, it's meant for me, you start to create a world where that thing already exists. So why are you so desperate to get it? The act of desperation or the act of wanting to control something is telling the universe you don't have it, it doesn't belong to you. It actually repels you. Same goes for dating. The more you push someone into a relationship, the more they want to run from you. But the more easygoing you are and just let things flow the way they're naturally supposed to flow, the more the relationship actually becomes connected or attractive, right? I don't mean attractive as in face, I mean attractive as in the two people get attracted to each other like a magnet. So the law of detachment is actually the key. The key of when you've done everything else, you surrender and let go. And the minute you surrender and let go, you become so magnetic, okay? Not because you're forcing reality, but because you're finally aligned with it. And I'm going to give you a really quick example, and is really interesting. So about 5 weeks ago, I had a coaching client, and she said to me, "Hey, Sherry, we keep talking about me. What about you? What is one of your goals in life? Like, what do you want? What's your intention?" And I said, "Actually, there's two things. I want to be a speaker on stage, like a Tony Robbins, a female version of Tony Robbins. Okay. If you're going to dream, you might as well dream really big. Okay. And Tony Robbins is like the upper echelon of speakers. Okay. And the second was like, I would love to have my own show called Sherry Love Love Codes, right? And maybe it's on Netflix or Hulu or something like that. Let me tell you, I didn't understand the how or the why. I just put myself out there. I was networking, introducing myself to people. People knew what I was doing. I'm quite well known as a love coach, because frankly, I help create transformation. I don't just give information, it's transformation. So word gets around really quickly. And I'll tell you, a week later, I get a phone call from Det Network, that's DETT, and there's like, hey, we would really love for you to be on this show. We're going to shoot a pilot. It's going to be 4 episodes, and we're going to try to sell it to Netflix and Hulu. And I was like, okay, great, let's do it. I've never filmed anything, never been on any show. And they said, okay, Sherry, we need you to come next week. And it's going to be grueling, but we need you for 4 days. It's going to be, 4 5 hour days. Mind you, I have my own stuff going on. I said, yep, sure, let's do it. They told me, bring 4 different outfits and we're going to film. 2 weeks ago, the first episode of Sherry Love Fix Us dropped. The second episode dropped last Sunday. This was just 5 weeks ago, guys. 5 weeks ago. And I promise you, it's because of the law of detachment. I just did whatever it was that needed to be that version of Sherry to have her show. Okay. I embodied her. I created the brand. I started networking. I didn't worry about the how. I didn't force outcomes. I said, it's going to come to me because it's mine. It's already mine. And that law of detachment, it almost like collapsed time. It collapsed time from something that could possibly have been a year to 2 years later, which is pretty reasonable, to like a month. And I promise you, if you try this in your love life, in your career, when you're trying to get a promotion or a salary increase, whether it's your health, whatever it might be, if you follow these 5 pillars and then really hone in on the law of detachment where you surrender and trust God, trust the universe, things will shift so dramatically for you in such a short period of time. I cannot tell you how amazing your life is going to turn out. And I want to tell you, all of you, and this is why I created what I call the We Rise manifestation journey. Guys, so We Rise is a transformational experience that is actually designed to help you reprogram your mind, embody your higher self, and become magnetic for the life that you truly desire. Because the truth is, you can get this information anywhere. I'm going to give you this recording, and I'm also going to give you the presentation so you can start to implement this into your life. However, the information alone is not going to transform your life. You actually have to put it into practice, okay? And most people already know what they should be doing, okay? Most of you have read books, listened to podcasts, watched a bunch of Instagram reels, you've done affirmations and vision boards, but something inside is still stuck. Your manifestations aren't happening fast enough, and then you give up, okay? And the reason for this is true manifestation is not about learning new stuff. It's about becoming a new version of yourself. Okay. It is a level of transformation that requires support, accountability, healing, nervous system work, identity shifts, embodiment, and a community who are all in the same frequency to live this beautiful life. Okay. One of the things I think you've all heard is proximity, right? When you're around a bunch of other women or men who are the version of who represent the version of you you want to become, the quicker you will become that version of yourself. And the same goes for my We Rise community. We are an amazing group of people, a tribe who are all striving for great relationships, great careers, financial freedom, time freedom, better health, you name it. And being in the proximity of this tribe actually accelerates your manifestations faster. And so, over 8 weeks in this program, we walk you through the process of completely shifting the way you think and feel and believe and how you show up in your life. And this is not surface level manifestation because you can get that anywhere. You can ask ChatGPT to give you the keys to manifestation, and that'll be just more information for you. This is actually deep transformational work. And in this program, we will not only help you, but we will witness you identify and remove your subconscious beliefs. We will show you how to regulate your nervous system so you stop operating from survival mode. We will help you and empower you to heal self-worth wounds that are blocking abundance for you, whether it's love, success, or even just peace, a peaceful life. You're going to gain complete clarity for the life you truly desire. And you start to embody the version of you who naturally attracts aligned opportunities, not through force. And you finally become energetically available for the life that you've been asking for. Because this is truly about alignment. Okay. And one of the most beautiful things about this work is watching the folks in the tribe completely reconnect to themselves. And so I want to just bring up for you what you will receive in this class. And like I said, there's no obligation for you to join this 8-week course, but I promise you, if you dive deep into this transformational coaching and you're here as part of this team, you will see changes. It'll be deep transformational coaching, energetic breakthroughs, manifestation teachings, Q&A, live support, you name it. We actually have a weekly live coaching call. It's not recorded. And this is why we're different. I've taken a lot of manifestation classes and all of them are recorded, pre-recorded. I don't understand that. For me, energetically, as a coach, I want to see you. I want to talk to you. I want to feel your energy. I want to be able to coach you. I want to get laser focused on what it is that you need so I can help you through that deep transformational change. Okay. So these live coaching calls are amazing. You will get a mini class on the actual course that you're learning that particular week. And we get to also share some of the wins that we have with each other. So this is live support. It's not pre-recorded. You know, even if you couldn't attend the live coaching, we will record that and you'll watch the recorded class. However, we encourage everyone to do the live. The next thing you also get is a complete manifestation curriculum that is has step-by-step teachings on all of the things that I just talked about, the clarity, intention setting, reprogramming your limiting beliefs, nervous system regulation, identity shifting, how to really do the law of detachment, the inspired action you need to take, you name it. And this beautiful curriculum is actually in an app that we have, and I'll show you shortly what that looks like. You'll also receive powerful guided meditations from me and activations. These are massively, massively important. And you can do this before you go to sleep or when you wake up in the morning. But these are exclusive transformational meditations that help you embody your future self. It'll help you heal emotionally. It activates abundance. You start to actually attract aligned love and career and money and opportunities. And so this is not like any other guided meditation that you have. This is specifically tailored for the tribe. You also will get subconscious reprogramming tools. So we can help you break free from things like self-sabotage and scarcity and the feelings of unworthiness and so on and so forth. You will also get embodiment and identity shift training from me, okay? Because you have to learn how to become the version of yourself who will actually attract the life that you desire. And I will walk you through this identity shift training. You'll also have access to the We Rise app, which is an amazing, amazing app, guys. It has all of the course teachings. It has audio lessons, the meditations, the journaling. It has everything, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's gamified. It's amazing. You go through different villages, and each village has these lessons, and it also has this beautiful navigation called Navi, who gives you insights into some of the things that you might have put in your workbooks. I mean, you name it. If you're journaling online, it'll actually analyze it and give you real-time information of where you're at in your journey and give you some tools and resources in order to continue kind of on this accelerated path that you have. We also have a personalized AI reflection and insight tool that gives you deeper awareness into your patterns. It allows you to have that mindset shift and the emotional breakthroughs throughout your journey. The beautiful thing when you're thinking about the app and then the weekly live classes with me is in real time, you can look at these AI reflections back to you, and then you can bring it to class and say, hey, Sherry, this is what I kind of discovered. Can you help me? I'm seeing patterns around this particular limiting belief that I just cannot break through from. It's just in the back of my mind all the time. So I will actually give you the tools and give like literally the blueprint on how to shift that part of you so that you can start magnetizing the thing that you want. You will also be part of a very supportive community. And these are people who are all committed to healing, growth, alignment. Like I said, proximity is everything. Okay. My uncle who is he used to be a CEO for Westinghouse, like back in the 80s, early 90s. And he's living a great life now. Fully retired, made a shit ton of money. And one thing he said to me was, Sherry, he was a multimillionaire. He said, Sherry, the only way that you can truly quickly become a multimillionaire is if you hang around with multimillionaires because they're going to open doors for you. They're going to give you some advice. They're going to show you where the opportunities are. Being in the same room as like-minded people actually creates accelerated growth. And so I really feel like our community that we've already developed is an amazing community. It's a community, it's really a tribe where we are watching each other win. We want to see each other win. We are committed to our growth. We are committed to having abundance in our life and really becoming the highest version of ourselves. And then to have accountability, we actually form like a buddy system where you become accountable to somebody else. I think this is really magical because it allows you to coach each other, right? Once you learn the deeper inner workings of the 5 pillars of manifestation or the manifestation code, you can start to see the gaps within each other and start to coach each other. And this is what's so beautiful about this is that once you know it, you can teach it to your kids, you can teach it to your spouse, you can teach it to your siblings, right? This is not about gatekeeping. They don't need to take my course in order to learn this stuff. You can share this information with them. You can actually, at some point, once you've had transformational, evidence, you can show them how to do it as well. For me, it is not about gatekeeping this information, which a lot of coaches do. This is about seeing people win. This is about essentially impacting the world in such a way that I can leave a legacy that, hey, I gave people tools to really move through life and live in abundance and peace and happiness and love. And that for me is everything. Okay. This is why I developed this. And I promise you, this is something that you can share with generations after you. So this is not just a manifestation course. This is a complete identity transformation. Okay. It is a journey back to yourself, and it is a space where you stop shrinking and you stop settling and you finally become the person that you always wanted to be. Okay. And I want you to know something. That person, that higher self, is not separate from you. It is you, just waiting for you to choose her or him. And maybe that's why you were guided to this manifestation class today, because deep down, you know you were meant for more. You want more peace, more alignment, more abundance, more love. Who doesn't want more love, more purpose, and more fulfillment? And if you continue to live the same identity, okay, nothing changes. But the moment you decide to truly invest in yourself, everything begins to shift. That decision becomes the turning point. Not because the program magically changed your life, but because you made the investment and you made the inspired action to start creating that shift. And so, if you're ready to step into the highest version of yourself, your future is waiting for you. And the future is where you can say, I'm worthy for the life I truly desire. So, I would absolutely love to be on this journey with you. So, the doors to We Rise are officially open today, and class actually begins June 2nd. I will actually be in Australia June 2nd, so I will be joining you all from a beautiful beach somewhere. Actually, no, I will be in Bali. I'm going to Australia next week and then heading to Bali. June 2nd, I will be in Bali, and that's when class begins, and I will be taking class from Bali. It'll be live. Hopefully, you'll see the beach behind me and all of the things. But I want to say that we are limiting these spots because we don't want a cohort or a class that's too big where we cannot give you individual attention during the weekly classes. Okay. So if your soul is pulling you towards this and you've been kind of gnawing at the idea of like, man, I really need to dive deep into this, then don't abandon yourself and actually join us. Okay. And to join us, there is an investment into your future self, and that is $1,300 until May 26th. May 26th is my birthday. I did talk to Tammy, who manages the app and everything around that. And for the folks that are in this manifestation class, you will have it until May 31st. Okay. After that, it goes up to the regular price of 2,333. Everyone else will get the early bird discount until May 26th. But because you took the inspired action on a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, you will have that price until May 31st. And you can just reach out to us. And it's really simple. You can sign up now by going to werise.website. And guys, I know it can be scary to look at a number that has a comma and a couple digits after it. But if you go to werise.website and you go to the payment link, you will find payment plan options there through Klarna, through Affirm, I think PayPal as well. So you can actually spread the payments to where they're less than $100 a month for you. And I promise you, if you make this investment, that money will come back to you tenfold because that is the signal in the inspired action that you're telling the universe that I'm ready for something different and I'm ready to elevate my life. And this is the moment. This is the moment. So sign up now. And guys, like I said, we're only creating a very limited amount of spots because we don't want the class to be so huge that you're just kind of overlooked. We want to be able to give you personal one-on-one attention during those weekly calls, okay? And if you're really interested in more one-on-one coaching from me, you can go ahead and reach out to me. You can actually email me at Sherry. It's Sherry at sherrylove.com. So SHERRY at sherrylove.com. And I will show you the package where we have all of these things for We Rise, plus you get 6 private sessions with me in those 8 weeks. And those private sessions are so powerful. We get laser focused on what it is that you want to manifest. And I promise you, I will trigger you. I will pull things out of you. I will help you get through those unconscious limiting beliefs. But in 8 weeks, we're going to see full transformation. So if you're interested in something more private, more tailored to you, more laser focused, just reach out to me. But for everyone else that just wants to be part of this, be in the community, and finally shift your world, shift your 3D world into something that represents love and abundance and peace and happiness, then sign up now at werise.website. I hope you are all having an amazing day. I'm excited to have you in the We Rise class. And it's not just to help you and empower you, but to really create the life you truly want and desire. But I also want to be a witness to it because I want to see you win. So please go ahead and sign up now. The doors are open officially. And everyone that's here today, you will have that pricing until May 31st. And like I said, if you click on the link, you'll see payment plan options for you there. So I cannot wait to share this journey with you. I cannot wait to witness you. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing day. And we are out of time. So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.